Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriye. Nashtiprahisha Valdreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita by Srila Das Goswami, Volume 3, Only He Could Lead Them, San Francisco, India, 1967, Chapter 27th, India Revisited, Part 1. So Prabhupada with Achyutananda is at Chippiwada temple, and this drunkard Chandrasekhar stole money from Prabhupada. He even stole his record player. But Prabhupada still forgave him. Prabhupada brought Achyutananda with him to his bank, the Bank of Baroda, to exchange some American currency. As they were about to enter the door, the guard refused them entry, thinking they were sadhus come to beg. Prabhupada was angry. He spoke loudly in Hindi to the guard, an old man with a shotgun, a big strap of bullets, and a shabby semi-official uniform. I have an account here, Prabhupada protested. Finally, the guard allowed them to enter. Prabhupada went straight to the manager and complained. Do you think, Prabhupada said, because I'm a sadhu, I'm to be regarded as a beggar? Prabhupada told the man of his organization in America and his account in the Bank of Baroda. The manager apologized and reprimanded the guard. One day, Prabhupada sent Achyutananda to a certain restaurant. If you want to see varieties of Indian food, Prabhupada said, tell the man you want 10 rupees of sweets and 10 rupees of salty preparations. That's called Mishti and Nimak, and just see the varieties. Achyutananda was sick and couldn't imagine eating a lot of sweets, but he stopped by the restaurant and looked. When he returned to the temple at Chippiwada, he told Prabhupada that he had seen the food, although he couldn't eat it. Yes, but just see the varieties, Prabhupada concluded. And he explained how Krishna consciousness was personal and full of varieties, not dry. Yeah, sometimes, well, in India they don't, but here they ask, oh, you're a vegetarian, what do you eat? And I'm like, I cannot prepare everything, but there's so much of variety. Another American disciple joined Prabhupada, Ramanuja, from Haighashbury. He had been initiated just before Swamiji had left San Francisco, and he sported a full black beard. Prabhupada didn't like the beard. Cautiously and indirectly, he mentioned it, but Ramanuja's beard stayed. Ramanuja carried a book about Tibetan Buddhism, and it didn't seem fixed in Krishna consciousness philosophy. But here he was, one of the loser, sentimental San Francisco devotees, ready for Indian adventures with Swamiji. Prabhupada visited the wealthy Delhi industrialist, Mr. Seth Dalmia, to discuss plans for printing some of his books in India. Mr. Dalmia received him well, but gave only vague promises of help. Prabhupada also met with Hitsaran Sharma, Mr. Dalmia's secretary, who worked closely with Hanuman Prasad Poddar of the popular religious publishing company Gita Press. Srila Prabhupada was already acquainted with all three gentlemen since they had all donated towards his first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada wanted Gita Press to publish his Gita Upanishad and Srimad Bhagavatam. Hitsaran Sharma showed him an illustrated Gita in Hindi poetry that he had recently published. But my Gita, my Bhagavatam, said Srila Prabhupada, appearing disgusted, is a description of God. It's a description of Krishna. Mr. Sharma said he couldn't see how Gita Press could print Prabhupada's voluminous writings. Nevertheless, Prabhupada still considered privately printing Gita Upanishad with Mr. Sharma as his agent. On October 11, Prabhupada wrote to Brahmananda, we must have our books printed. We have wasted much time in the matter of editing and finding out a suitable publisher. When I was alone, there were three volumes published, but during the last 2 years, I could not publish a single volume more. It's a great defeat. If I have one or two sincere souls like you, and if we can make more publications, then our mission will be a great success. I'm prepared to sit down underneath a tree with one sincere soul, and in such activity, I shall be freed of all diseases. See how much he was intent on publishing the books. And actually, the books, the philosophy is what is gonna is the foundation of the movement. Devotees from America were regularly writing Swamiji, anxious to see him again in good health. But he didn't want to leave India, he explained, until he personally saw that the printing of his Gita Upanishad was underway. Printing Gita Upanishad and obtaining approval for permanent residency in the US were the two short-term goals he wished to achieve before returning. But he thought often of his return to America. As you are all feeling my separation, similarly, I'm also anxious to return as soon as possible. I think I'm fit to go back to your country at present, and as scheduled previously, I'm sure by the end of October, I must be fit to return. But before this, there are many things to be done. I'm not yet assured of the permanent visa. The best thing will be that from each center, an invitation should be sent that my presence is urgently required. Presently, I am very much anxious to begin printing here if Macmillan Company does not take up the work. Please, therefore, let me know yes or no from Macmillan. If he is not serious, then immediately send the manuscripts, finished or not, to the following address: Pandit Hirsaran Sharma, care of Dalmi Enterprises, Scindia House, New Delhi. After dispatching, let me know and I shall do the needful. Indian friends who visited Prabhupada's room listened eagerly as he told them about America, the millions of cars and the superhighways and thousands of young people rejecting their father's wealth. But Prabhupada's visitors weren't fully able to understand his visit to America. Not that they were too simple to understand, and not just that they had never traveled in the West. Prabhupada's experience in America consisted of intimate spiritual relationships with his disciples. How could an outsider understand the dynamics of his temples and his disciples in the West? How could anyone except Prabhupada and his disciples understand these things? My mind is always with you. Practically, your country is my home now. India is a foreign country for me. The reason is that my spiritual family is there and my material relationships are in India. Therefore, factually, where my spiritual family exists, there is my home. Srila Prabhupada's vision of a worldwide society of devotees preaching in temples and publishing books, the vision he had even before he had gone to America, was now becoming manifest. But it was dependent on him. In his absence, his disciples were sustained only by carrying out his orders and receiving his letters. When Dayananda and Nandarani had gone from the San Francisco temple to start a temple in Los Angeles, it had been Swamiji's instructions that they had sustained and guided them. And that had sustained and guided. Wherever there is a new branch of our Society for Krishna Consciousness, I become very, very happy, and my blessings in heart and soul are with you. On receipt of Swamiji's letter, they knew they had done the right thing. No matter that husband and wife sometimes quarreled and that there wasn't enough money, the main thing was that Swamiji was pleased. From Boston, Satsarup wrote that he and other devotees, they were moving from an apartment to a rented storefront near Boston University. The first time Satsarup entered the new storefront, he found on the floor an aerogram from Swamiji dated October 6 from Delhi. I can understand that you have secured a very nice place in Boston, and there is a very good possibility of pushing our movement amongst the student community there. Our movement is certainly very much appealing to the younger section of your country. And if we are successful in the matter of attracting the student community in your country, certainly this movement will scatter all over the world and fulfilling the foretelling of Lord Chaitanya, that in every village and every town of the world, the Lord will be famous for his glorious Sankirtan movement. Please strive for this with your heart and soul, and your life will be a successful mission. I don't know if this rented storefront in Boston, near Boston University, is it the same place that they have the temple now? Because the one I visited, that wasn't a storefront, that was more like a house. So maybe they shifted. And um, the temple, the current temple in Boston, is very close to the famous, very famous MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Like MIT is like Mecca of engineering. And that's where our temple is. And they do a wonderful preaching. The letter was as good as Swamiji coming personally to open the storefront and begin the preaching. It gave such full direction and inspiration. And it was personal. In that same letter, Prabhupada had written, I'm always aspiring after returning to your care and overload you with typewriting tasks. I hope we shall very soon meet again and help each other in the matter of discharging Krishna conscious engagement. I'm now 90% all right, and I think I can return safely. This typewriting work is done by me. For 2 days, I'm alone and doing everything myself as experiment. This proves that I'm now well. Please offer my blessings to all the boys and girls there. See these letters, how personal they were for the devotees and how much encouragement and intimacy is there. And this is what motivated the devotees to give their life for it. And how they work. See, a couple went to Los Angeles to open a temple. Satsuru Prabhu, that was Satsuru Prabhu. After that, he became Maharaj. He went to Boston with few devotees to start a temple. In New Mexico, another place, state, America, Subal was trying to arrange public speaking engagements for Prabhupada's return, and Prabhupada was encouraging. If you think I can be on television by the first week in December, then you can arrange for it because I must be in your country by the middle of November. Srila Prabhupada wrote to Janardhan in Montreal, answering his philosophical doubts and encouraging him to be patient with his spiritually reluctant wife. So, Janardhan Prabhu, his wife was not into Krishna consciousness. And what does Prabhupada say? He didn't say divorce her or do whatever. No. Be patient with the spiritually reluctant. And to Rai Ram, who was editing Back to Godhead magazine in New York, he gave another kind of thoughtful assurance. I'm very happy that since BTG, or Back to Godhead, is entrusted to you, the things are improving. This means that Krishna is giving you more and more facilities. Krishna is such a nice boss that he gives more facilities and improvement to the sincere servant. Again, so much of encouragement. That's amazing. That's spiritual master and a leader. And it wasn't that Prabhupada was just giving false hopes. No, he was with them, encouraging them, had their backs, and motivating them to do more and more. On October 9th, the day Prabhupada started for Calcutta, he left behind a different kind of letter for Sri Krishna Pandit. Prabhupada had been negotiating with Sri Krishna Pandit to purchase the Shipiwada temple for ISKCON, or at least to rent the single room through a formal contract. Prabhupada wanted the room as a Delhi headquarters for printing his books. On the day of his departure, however, Sri Krishna Pandit was unavailable, and Prabhupada left him a short handwritten. If you're not settling anything with the room, then I may not come back to Delhi anymore. I'll go to USA directly from Calcutta via the Pacific route, for which Shri Dalmia Seth has already promised for the ticket. So Prabhupada wanted to purchase the Shipiwada temple, and for many, many years, it was not property of ISKCON, but few years back, ISKCON Delhi bought it. And now they made a wonderful temple there. upgraded it or restored it. There's a nice temple there. So thus ends chapter 27. We can start chapter 28. India Revisited Part 2. Prabhupada's train, the Kalka Mail, pulled into Delhi station. Prabhupada and his two disciples had tickets with reserved seat numbers, but no car number. So while Prabhupada waited with the baggage, Achyutananda and Ramanuja ran from one end of the train to the other looking for their car. After they had found their seats and boarded, Achyutananda untied Prabhupada's bedding and spread it open on the upper tier. Prabhupada climbed the little ladder, sat comfortably in his cotton stuffed quilt, and opened his Sanskrit Srimad Bhagavatam. While Achyutananda and Ramanuja took their seats, it would take around 24 hours to reach Calcutta. Yes, that time the trains were not that fast. Near the end of the journey, a group of educated Bengali gentlemen struck up a philosophical conversation with the Swami. "We do not worship any form," said one, speaking fluent English in a loud, deep voice. "We have a marble Omkar that we worship, and we sit and pray to that." "That's also a form," said Prabhupada. He was reluctant to attack the philosophical position directly. "We practice Karma Yoga," the gentleman went on, not heeding Prabhupada's previous point, "because in Karma Yoga, you can stay within your position." "But Karma Yoga is not full surrender of the soul," said Prabhupada. "One must come to the stage of bhakti." "Oh no," the man protested. "Emotionalism is very harmful. Karma Yoga," Srila Prabhupada exploded. "Karma Yoga is for the fools." Then there was silence. This is a very popular statement of Prabhupada. Karma Yoga is for fools. Another man, not with the Bengalis, but seated beside them, spoke up. "Obviously, Swamiji is a learned scholar," he said. "You shouldn't argue like that." The Bengali that Prabhupada had shouted at got up and moved to another seat. Later he came back. "Are you insulted?" Prabhupada asked him. "No, no, no," he replied, "but I have never heard anyone say that about the teachings of the Gita." The Bengalis then talked with Achyutananda, lighting their cigarettes and smoking freely before him, although they had not dared to do so before Prabhupada, because it wasn't proper to smoke in front of a sadhu. Bengalis, Achyutananda told them, citing one of Prabhupada's examples, were very sorry that East Pakistan had been cut off from the rest of Bengal. But Krishna consciousness could elevate people to international universal consciousness. Then there wouldn't be any such division. Well, East Pakistan, which is Bangladesh. Look at the situation now. The Bengalis appreciated Achyutananda's remark, though they continued to blow smoke in his face as a train rattled over the last miles to Calcutta. Prabhupada was greeted at Calcutta's Howrah station by relatives, mostly from his sister's family, and by devotees of the Goswami Mutt. About 50 people were on hand. They offered Prabhupada flower garlands and sandalwood paste, and then escorted him and his disciples into a car. Achyutananda and Ramanujan noticed that although Swamiji's sister was shorter and more rotund than Prabhupada, her facial features were strikingly similar. Her name was Bhavtarini, but Prabhupada told them to call her Pishima, or aunt. So this Pishima, Prabhupada's sister, whenever Prabhupada was in India, she would come see him, and he stayed with him in Mayapur for some time. And Pishima, just to tell you her special qualities. She was very good cook, and she would cook for Prabhupada, along with Govindasi and other Matajis in Vrindavan and in Mayapur. And she had she was married to a person who was not a devotee. She was devotee. She was initiated by Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, I believe. And that person, her husband, was not a devotee, and he liked to eat fish. And Prabhupada, she used to complain to Prabhupada that what kind of person he is. I have to cook fish for him, and I'm a Vaishnavi. And Prabhupada tell her, it's okay, cook for him. You don't eat, but cook for him. So much tolerance. And she was so humble. She always would keep some Ganga water in a small bottle with her, small plastic bottle. And whenever she would sit anywhere, after she leave that place, she would sprinkle some drops of Ganga water from it. Because she said that I have contaminated this place. So Ganga water will cleanse it, will purify it. And where we go, we think we have purified that place. So that was her mood. As Prabhupada rode through the streets, he saw many images of goddess Kali, ten-armed, riding a lion. Calcutta was observing the biggest religious celebration in Bengal, Kali Puja, a month of festivities in honor of the goddess Kali. Throughout the city, brass bands and radio music blared, and there were decorative lights, stages, and tents. When Prabhupada arrived at Pishima's house in South Calcutta, his relatives seated him and performed an arti ceremony in his honor, reverently offering him the traditional items, incense, a flaming lamp, flowers. They also bathed his feet. He sat smiling within the crowded room of relatives who were proud of his having journeyed to America on behalf of Lord Krishna. So sometimes people do ask, was Prabhupada so proud that he would let his relatives offer him arati? No, he wasn't proud. He was very humble, but he had to, first he had to set an example for his disciples to follow, how to worship Guru. And then he was accepting the worship to take care of people who were worshipping him, to take care in the sense to help them in bhakti by giving them a chance to worship a pure devotee. That doesn't mean we go and we start expecting that our relatives should offer arti to us. No, we are not Prabhupada. We are not that way. As Prabhupada's family members sang Hare Krishna Kirtan, from outside the room, the ladies of the house began singing a high, shrill, whooping sound. Achyutananda and Ramanuja were startled. So this whooping sound, and in Bengal, it's very popular. They made this ulul dhwani. It's considered very auspicious. So only ladies make it, not men. Ulul dhwani. Like they roll their tongue and make this ulul. Ulul means owl. The sound that all. It's considered very auspicious in Bengal. Pishima had prepared a large feast, much of it cooked in mustard seed oil, for the homecoming celebration, and Prabhupada satisfied her by honoring the prasadam, even though he wasn't feeling well and was tired from the train ride. Soon after the festivities, Prabhupada and his disciples retired. Again, his health wavered, this time because of his sister's heavy cooking, and he felt a strain on his heart. He sent for an Ayurvedic doctor who taught Achyutananda how to do a very gentle massage to help circulation and restricted Prabhupada from sweets. So restricted Prabhupada from sweets, which was very difficult. Prabhupada loved sweets. As Prabhupada recovered, he began regularly lecturing in his room during the evening. Although he spoke in English for his disciples, the room would soon fill to capacity with relatives and friends. There were generally disturbances from outside due to the noises of Kali Puja. Nearby Pishima's house was a large tent, a center for evening street parties, which included a streets counter, fireworks, and an excessively loud public address system that incongruously blared Julie Andrews singing from The Sound of Music, a Hollywood movie. One evening, as Prabhupada spoke, my only qualification is that I have unflinching faith in my spiritual master. A large firecracker exploded right outside the door. The audience smiled tolerantly. Yes, Prabhupada said, taking the explosion as confirmation of his words. It's glorious. One night, Prabhupada explained that according to Bhagavad Gita, demigod worshippers are less intelligent. People worship Kali for material rewards, he said. But since all material things are temporary, such worship is inferior to the worship of Krishna. Kali is not able to grant the worshipper liberation from birth and death. Which is better, Achyutananda asks, the worship of the Christians and Jews, which is mostly impersonal, or the worship of the non-absolute by the worshippers of Kali? Worship of Kali is better, Prabhupada said, because the worshippers are in the Vedic system. They are more likely to bow down to Radha Krishna or chant Hare Krishna than a Christian or Jew. There is a chance that they will become Christian devotees in the future if they lose their material attachments. Prabhupada regularly invited his godbrothers and their disciples to join him in America. Sometimes he seemed to do it just to get them at least to think more of preaching. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had once chided that the Gaudiya Math ashram was no more than a joint mess. The members going out each day and collecting enough alms so that they could eat together, but with no dynamic vision for preaching. So Prabhupada's frequent invitations, you should go to America, come back with me, would stir them, even if they couldn't actually come. On visiting the ashram of Bhakti Sarang Goswami, Prabhupada saw that the audience consisted almost entirely of old widows, but he spoke as usual. One day Prabhupada's godbrother, Haridas Swami, came by. He was heavy-set and loud, and he spoke very rapidly. Very happy to see you coming here from America. This is wonderful. Krishna is samam bonam, the cause of all causes. I want you to come to my temple. When Haridas Maharaj went into a separate room, Prabhupada turned to Achyutananda. He wants us to go to his temple. But to go there, I'll have to go onto a rickshaw, and then onto a tram car, and then onto a train, and then another rickshaw. Awake of Prabhupada's weak condition, Achyutananda began shaking his head negatively. When Haridas Maharaj returned, Achyutananda said that Swamiji couldn't come to his mutt. Who are you? Haridas Maharaj said angrily. You're just a brahmachari, you should risk your life. Achyutananda replied, I'll risk my life, but I can't risk my spiritual master's life. Haridas Maharaj left insulted. Don't worry, Prabhupada said. He's just very talkative. Prabhupada paid a visit to B.P. Keshav Maharaj, the godbrother who had awarded him the sannyas order in 1959. Prabhupada sat on the floor and spoke in Bengali to his godbrother, who was very old and apparently on his deathbed. Prabhupada had Achyutananda sing for Keshav Maharaj. Keshav Maharaj requested Prabhupada to visit his ashram, Devanand Math, in Navadvip. So this Devanand Math, probably you don't remember the story of Devanand Pandit from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Devanand Pandit was a Bhagavatam speaker in Navadvip and was very popular. And in one time he was speaking Bhagavatam Katha, Srila Thakur went to his Bhagavatam Katha. Srila Thakur was sitting in the back and Devanand Pandit was speaking Bhagavatam. Srila Thakur heard him speak the shlokas of Bhagavatam and he went into trance, into ecstasy, and started crying, thinking of Krishna, out of love for Krishna. But the devotees or the disciples of Devanand Pandit, they were disturbed because of crying of Srivas Thakur. They said he must be disturbing our Guru. So they just picked up Srivas Thakur and I won't say threw him out, but just took him out of the assembly and left him there. And Srivas Thakur just came back to his house. Devanand Pandit Either he didn't see that happening or he saw it and he didn't respond, whatever. But an offense happened, offending a Vaishnava like Srila Thakur. So what happened, Devanand Pandit, he lost all his power to speak on Bhagavatam. Not immediately, but it wasn't influential anymore. And then after a few years, it was few years later, when what was his name? There was a devotee who would dance in Kirtan of Mahaprabhu for 72 hours straight. I'm forgetting his name. So he was in Navadvip, and he was dancing in the Kirtan on the streets. Kirtan was going on, and he was dancing. And to see his dancing, people gathered, the whole crowd gathered. And to keep his dance, to protect his dancing and that devotee, Devanand Pandit, he just took his stick and he was around that devotee. Somehow, his name is slipping my mind right now. And he served that devotee. And that devotee blessed Devanand Pandit. Krishna Bhakti Hauk means maybe you get Krishna Bhakti. So unknowingly, he served that devotee. And then later he found out that he had unknowingly committed that offense against Shivastha. And he went and begged for mercy, begged for forgiveness from Shivastha. Then he got forgiven and his offenses were removed. And then he got mercy of Mahaprabhu also. Why I'm saying this story? So when it is said Keshav Maharaj requested Prabhupada to visit his ashram, Devanand Mutt in Navadvip. So this is the place where Devanand Pandit, he served that devotee by protecting him and his kirtan and his dancing. It is said that anybody who visits this place, Devanand Pandit Mutt in Navadvip, any offenses he has committed against any Vaishnava, they are all removed. All the reactions are. Of course, that doesn't mean we come back and commit more offenses. But this is the power of that place. It is still there, wonderful place. And whenever we have visited Navadvip, we always go there. So probably next time when we go, we'll go to Navadvip and visit that place. Okay, I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
प्रभुजी ये मायापुर के आसपास है क्या जो आप जगह बता रहे थे वो?
Yeah.
Navadvip Mayapur. Okay. So 2026 next week.
Navadvip and Mayapur are on two sides of Ganga. So on one side is Mayapur, other side is Navadvip.
Okay.
So the boats go whole day. The boats are going between two places.
Okay. So 2026 we can plan.
Two kya?
2026 maybe we can plan then.
I hope so.
Let's cross fingers. Yes, we will go. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Chalo, you all have safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.